Hello and welcome back to Doonhamer Diaries, the podcast where we go back in time and relive the highs, the lows, the challenges and everything in between with the players and staff who live and breathe the beautiful game. I'm Emily Copeland and today I'm delighted to be joined by Queen of the South club legend and current Blackpool FC team coach Stephen Dobbie, a man who needs no introduction, scoring 160 Doonhamer goals across 275 appearances and having a remarkable 23-year career across Scotland and England. From unforgettable Palmerston moments to lessons and experiences through the leagues, this is his story. So we'll start from the very beginning. You obviously grew up in Glasgow, so who were your sort of footballing idols from that time?
Yeah, obviously, my family was big Rangers fans. And being a big football fan myself, Ali McCoist was the big one. I think obviously whenever I played, people seen the joy in me when I scored a goal, and I think that really came from watching Ali McCoist. Um, he was obviously my hero back in the day. So yeah, I'd say Super Ali.
You started your career coming through the youth system at Rangers. What was it like for you at that time? Obviously signing with your boyhood club, that must have been a proud moment for yourself as well as your family.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I think I signed when I was 12 year old, and then luckily signed on as a scholar, which was amazing to actually live out your dream to play full time and train every day as a footballer. But that was just the grounding really. I think what Rangers gave us as well was we travelled the world. We seen places like Bermuda and places in Australia, things like that. I maybe wouldn't have. So it was amazing. Good coaches. Learned a lot. Unfortunately, didn't break through to the first team. Obviously, at that time they had quite a lot of money buying international players, so it wasn't a failure. It was probably just the wrong time coming through the system to get that opportunity. But as I said, it set me in good stead for the rest of it.
How did your family sort of influence your journey into football?
I don't think they influenced it at the start. I think obviously growing up in the 80s, I'm very old now. You didn't really have much to do. You didn't have computers and all that kind of stuff. So you were out in the street playing football with your friends and then playing against street teams and things like that. So it wasn't until maybe I started playing for the primary school and my grassroots team that my dad and mum and my granddad and that started taking me all over Glasgow for the games. So yeah, as I said, it was just the love of the game, playing out in the streets every day and every night.
Did you always kind of want to be a striker, or was there another position that you played when you were younger, or did striker sort of always appeal to you?
Yeah, I think striker was the main thing. I did sometimes dabble in goal. Um, Obviously, just you're playing so much when you were younger that sometimes you need a little break. So went in goal and I quite enjoyed it. Um, but I think up front was always going to be where I was going to end up because the feeling when you score a goal, I don't think you can replicate that. So yeah, striker. As I said, Super Ali always was my hero. So that was the place to be.
What was it like coming through the youth system at such a young age, and despite unfortunately not making a first team appearance, how did it help you develop and what sort of lessons did you learn from that time?
Yeah, I think as I said, we not making it through. I think when looking back, it's as I said, it was the wrong time, the wrong era. Obviously, after after that, they started bleeding some young players in, and Rangers went down the leagues and stuff like that. So I might have just missed the boat with that. Um, but as I said, the Rangers grounding gave me where I needed to start, and then as my career went on, then you go back to times like that where you weren't really playing or you weren't involved and stuff like that, and you feed off that to try and get higher. So there was always lessons in that.
You then moved into a loan spell over in Australia with Northern Spirit. You scored 3 goals in 3 appearances. How did that spell sort of compare to Scottish reserve football?
Yeah, yeah. It was a funny story. I had the chance. The coach at the time brought me in and said, "You can go on loan to Dumbarton, who was in League Two, or you can go to Australia to a feeder club." So I spoke it over with my family and obviously Suzanne, my wife, now, who was my girlfriend at the time, and made the decision to go to Australia and try something different and um, try and. It was the first time I'd been out on my own, away from my mum and dad. So went there, loved it. Obviously, it was in summertime, so we were training very early at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I was on the beach by 12 playing volleyball, and so it was probably more life skills and travelling than the football because it was coming near the end of their season. As I said, I only played a few times, but I loved it. It was a great experience, and to see Australia and Sydney and places like Canberra and Melbourne, and that was something I wouldn't have got the chance to do.
You then made your move to Hibs in the '03 season. How did that move sort of come about?
Yeah, it's always the same thing. I always tell a lot of the players that I've coached over the years now is you just never know who's there watching. And I was playing for Rangers reserves at Firhill against Partick Thistle one night, and I scored five. And Bobby Williamson, the manager of Hibs, was there that night. And obviously, a couple of months later, I got the chat to say that I wasn't going to get a new contract, which I was quite happy with because I felt as if I was time to move on. And I got that. I got that on the Friday. Spoke to my agent. Spoke to Bobby on the Friday night, and I was in there training on the Monday, and I'd signed by the following Friday. So, just it's funny as I said, you just never know who's watching. So, just to give your best every time.
What was it like making your professional debut, and what are your sort of standout moments from that time?
It was amazing. I mean, that time Bobby was bleeding a lot of young players in. So he had Scott Brown and Stephen Whittaker and Kevin Thompson who all went on to have great careers. So I felt as if I just fitted in because it was a quite a young squad. Obviously scoring and then coming on in the semi final and scoring against Rangers at Hampden was probably the highlight. Um, which was a great feeling. Obviously, I knew the Rangers kitman Jimmy Bell. He came in after and congratulated me. And obviously, I'd moved on, but I had some great times helping Jimmy, who's sadly passed away now. So that was probably my highlight. Scoring the goal and obviously speaking to Jimmy after the game.
You also made your European debut with Hibs in 2004. A proud moment for yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously being a young boy and want to play to the highest you can. You're always watching games on the TV, European competitions, all that kind of stuff. And I think was it Lithuania or Latvia? I can't remember. We travelled somewhere that way. So yeah, make an appearance in the European competition was amazing.
You then left Hibs on loan to St Johnstone before joining permanently. Did the move sort of come about at the right time for you, or were you disappointed to leave Hibs at that time?
I think Tony Mowbray had come in, and I went on loan, and then I went back in the pre-season, and Tony was really good with me. But I think probably the time was right. I think Tony was wanting to go different ways, and he was started to bring an influx of English players in as well, which was fine. And I was probably not in the right, um, shall we say, fitness and focused. So going down the leagues was probably the right thing because obviously I don't think myself I was taking it too serious at the time.
Then just sort of touch back on that. How did the early years of your career shape you as a professional footballer?
I think you always look at it. I think you always see players who break onto the scene when they're younger and then fall away as they get older, and very rarely you get a second chance. And I think that was really my career. I didn't take it as serious as I should have when I was younger. And then when I came to Queen of the South, obviously Ian McCall and Gordon Chisholm helped me massively. Billy Dodds, Kenny Brannigan, and they sort of shaped me and got me back in the love of football. And then it was the right fit with Queen of the South, and it just turned my career around. So I've got a lot to thank the club and as I said, those coaches and managers.
Moving on to joining Queen of the South in the First Division, how did that move to the Doonhamers initially come about, and why Queen of the South at that time?
I got a call from Ian McCall one night. Obviously, I was on loan at Dumbarton. I think I'd scored something like 12 and 15 games, something like that. And obviously, Ian McCall had knew me um, with his affiliations with Rangers and that as well. So he gave me a phone call. I liked what he said, and then I was in training the next day, and obviously we I think the chairman at the time had backed him and got quite a lot of good players like Stevie Tosh and Neil McFarlane, Jamie McCulkin, all from Gretna and stuff like that. So I think the timing was right, the gel of the players, and obviously we stayed up from relegation that season. So that was a great start to my Queen's career.
You scored your first hat-trick of 12 for the club away from home against Greenock Morton. Can you take us back to that day and how much it meant to yourself? I know it can be every striker's dream to score a hat-trick.
Yeah, it's actually a funny story. I think I started on the bench. Gordon Chisholm had dropped me, and I wasn't too happy. So I was very I wouldn't say angry, but very quiet in the changing room. I came on, I think, with half an hour to go, and managed to score the perfect hat trick. So um, that was obviously a great moment for myself. But when I came in, and obviously everybody's celebrating and cheering because we won 3-0. Chizzy just said to me, "Listen, you play like that, you'll be on the bench next week." So it was a surreal moment, and sometimes you just in the heat of the moment you don't react the way you should. So me being obviously grumpy and in a mood to start maybe have helped me, but it's as you get older you start to think that you've got to appreciate your other teammates who were playing in front of you.
The club then went on that memorable 2008 Scottish Cup run. You scored in the rounds leading up to the semi-final. Can you sort of take us back to the day of the final? Obviously it was a disappointing result in the end, but a memorable day for yourself, the team, as well as the fans.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, the chairman at the time, and obviously Ian had moved on, and Chizzy had took the reins, and we just built a squad that the camaraderie in the dressing room was unbelievable. We all got on, we all socialised with each other, um, and going through all the rounds when we beat Dundee at home, Palmerston was packed. I mean, I can still remember, obviously my goal, but then Ryan McCann's goal was just the scenes behind the goal was unbelievable. And then going to Hampden to beat Aberdeen 4-3. Obviously, John came on and I went off injured. John came on and changed the game for us, and Burnsy and Big Sean. So leading up to the Rangers game, we had nothing to fear really. I think we'd proved ourselves that we were a good team. We knew it was going to be hard because they were at the time in the UEFA Cup final as well before that. But leading up to the game, I know I've always never really got nervous for games, so I wasn't nervous for that. I just knew that we had to be on our best to beat them, and we gave as good as I think we could have on the day.
You finished top goal scorer in the 07-08 season, and the club also finished fourth as well as reaching that memorable cup final. A successful season for yourself personally?
Yeah, I think at the start of the season, obviously the main aim is obviously to get promoted. I think that was one of the reasons. The second time I came back to try my hardest to try and get Queens into the Premier League, but obviously it didn't come around. Didn't work out that way. But um, if you don't get promoted, I mean, as a striker, you just want to score as many goals and help the team as much as you can. So to finish top goal scorer, obviously it was a great achievement personally at the end of the season.
Moving on now to your switch down to England, how big was the step moving to Swansea City in the Championship, and what made that feel like the best next step at the time?
Yeah, it was massive. I mean, I remember leading up to it that I had a few teams in Scotland because I was coming to, obviously my contract was running down, and my agent phoned me to say Swansea are coming to watch you at St Johnstone away. Luckily, I scored two that day, and then we played Clyde at home. The following week I scored four, and he phoned me on the way home and said, right, that's it done, it's sorted. So it was one of them, it was a surreal moment. But as I said earlier to you, Emily, it depends on who's watching at the time. And luckily, Graham Jones was the assistant at Hamilton for a few seasons under Billy Reid, but then he went to Swansea as assistant under Roberto Martinez. So maybe if Graham wasn't there, they wouldn't have knew anything about me. Um, and that's really how it came around. So as I said, you just got to try your hardest all the time because you never know who's watching.
You scored at Wembley in the playoffs for Swansea. How proud a moment was that for you as well as your family, scoring on such a big stage?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, no one. I don't think you can really explain the feeling. Um, I think I set one up and then scored. We obviously win. 90,000 people, but having my family there is unbelievable. Like my youngest Jack was there, and the pictures with obviously my medal round his neck and all that kind of stuff. You can't replicate it, and that's the main thing. It's not the game of football is game of football. Like I've always, as I said, I've never got nervous even for that game. But it's like the blowback after that of the family, how they come and support and celebrate with you. I think that's the main thing and the main memories that no one can ever take away from you.
You spent some time with Blackpool, we'll touch more on that in a minute, Brighton and Hove, Crystal Palace, Bolton Wanderers, Fleetwood Town, down in England. Which spell do you look back on most fondly? I know that each will have their own individual memories and standout moments.
Yeah, I mean, I loved every club I went to for different reasons. Maybe it was the football, maybe it was the people I met, the connections and the friends that I've made. But I think with the first and second spell at Blackpool as a player, obviously under Ian Holloway, who I had a great connection with and took me to Palace as well. But as I said, it was the team, it was the players, it was the we all socialised together, all the wives socialised together. It was just the camaraderie in the dressing room, and obviously the manager Ian Holloway and promotes that. So I'd probably say the time at Blackpool was my favourite.
You joined Blackpool initially on loan before signing permanently. What are your sort of standout moments from your time at Blackpool, especially playing under Ian Holloway at that time?
Yeah, obviously we won at Wembley as well. I think scoring against Nottingham Forest in the semi final of the playoffs was amazing, and then obviously getting 20 minutes, 25 minutes in the final when we beat Cardiff was probably the highlights. But as I said, it was the time after it with my family, and then going to the bus and going through the streets of Blackpool just to see all the fans, how they came out and what it meant to people. I think that's the most important thing.
Blackpool have obviously got a big fan base, strong connection with the supporters. How good did you find playing at Bloomfield Road?
I loved it. I loved it. Even now, obviously being back as a coach, it brings back memories every home game I'm on the pitch. When you hear the drums and you hear all the fans in the north stand. Um, but I loved it. I loved every game. I loved it every time I had the tangerine shirt on. And as I said, I'm loving every minute of coaching as well. So hopefully continues for a long time.
Who were the standout sort of characters in the dressing room from that time?
That time, obviously, yeah, Charlie Adam. A lot of We had quite a few Scottish lads, Stephen Craney. Um, but then you had like Kevin Phillips. We had Barry Ferguson at some points as well. So yeah, it was a big connection of Scottish players. But as I said, the manager, the manager knew the players he was bringing in, the characters he was bringing in, and that just it bedded everything together.
You also had a spell with Fleetwood Town. How did you sort of find that? I know they were on the rise through the leagues at that time and also a big rival of Blackpool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, it probably didn't go as great as I would have liked. I had a few injuries in that season that I was there, but I enjoyed it. It was a good club. Um, as you said, the route came through all the leagues. I think they're in League Two now. But I go up sometimes and watch some games, so it's obviously only 25 minutes from my house. So yeah, I enjoyed my time there. It was good.
You then returned back to Queen of the South in 2016. Was it always a club that you were going to come back to at some point or in some capacity in your career?
Yeah, I always said that I would have loved to finish my career there when I left because the club done so much for me. The people there, as I said, Ian McCall and Chisholm and Billy Dodds and Kenny, and obviously Davy Ray, who was the chairman, and obviously still see him when we come up. He came down actually to Blackpool, him and his family, and we had a nice dinner. I think maybe about a year ago. So it was lovely to see them. Um, but no, that was the only place I wanted to see in my career, and I think obviously my kids were getting a bit older, so for them to see the dedication to one club, I think was the main one of the main reasons me staying so long.
You came back to the club and was shortlisted for PFA Player of the Year and selected in the Team of the Year in 3 successive seasons. A massive achievement after a successful season for yourself and then eventually winning the award in 2019.
Yeah, to be fair, I'd been nominated quite a few times. I didn't think I was eventually going to win it. I think that season that I ended up breaking the record with 43 goals. Unfortunately, we were fighting relegation. I think Gary was doing a great job, and then we lost I think 6 or 7 key players, first team players that were playing every week. And then I think we didn't win in like 10 games. So when we came back fit, we were fighting relegation, but we were successful in staying up. Um, but I loved that season. Like everything. I loved the group. I loved the players, the manager. I was just happy playing football and just enjoying it. And being the captain was a massive honour.
You scored your 100th Doonhamer goal in December of 2017. A disappointing result in the end on the day, but a proud moment to hit such a big milestone.
Yeah, if I'm right in saying I think it was Dunfermline at home, maybe. Um, yeah, it was a massive achievement. I mean, there's so many players came through the door at every club, so to score 100 goals for any club is very special, and to do it at a club like Queen of the South that have that big in my heart was amazing.
You were also appointed captain during the 2018-19 season. Was this something that was a massive honour for yourself personally?
Yeah, because I think when you look back when you're younger, you probably say I'm not really captain material. I'm a bit silly, and a bit you're funny in the change room. But I think as you get older, and then I think the big thing for me is, and I think with me going into coaching now, it's like helping other people. So I think Gary had seen when I came back what I was all about and how I trained and how I made sure I was ready for games and how I did all my stuff through the week to make sure I was ready. I think that was probably the main reason that he gave me the captaincy, and it was absolutely like a proud moment for me and my family because leading the Doonhamers every week was very special.
During that season, you also broke the club record, as you said, by scoring 43 goals in a single season. Looking back, is there a particular goal or game that stands out for you the most?
Yeah, I think probably beating Ayr at home, 5-0 I think it was. I scored 4, missed a penalty that day as well. So I'm still a wee bit not happy with that, to be honest. And it was against Ian McCall, so that was a funny turnaround. But yeah, probably beating Ayr because obviously they were rivals, so that was an enjoyable day.
To mark the centenary year, during the 2019-20 season, a statue of yourself was unveiled outside of Palmerston. What was that moment like for you as well as your family?
Honestly, I don't think I can explain how that feeling is. I mean, you very rarely at my age you have a statue of yourself. I think obviously the legends of the club, the other 2 guys, I think have sadly passed on. Um, and their families and that there to see that must have been amazing for them. And for me to be there beside them was an absolute honour. And obviously the day having my mum and dad and that there and my kids, and my wife, obviously, and the rest of my family. So for my kids to see that, it's something that's the photos and that will obviously never go away. But I always phone, I always speak to when I speak to Tats, who's obviously the kit man. We have a little joke: is it still there? Has somebody burnt it down, or as graffiti, as moustache? Somebody drew a moustache on it, so I believe it's still there. So hope, hopefully it'll be there for quite a while.
In 2021, you announced that your time at the club was come to an end at the end of that season. How difficult was the decision to leave, and did it sort of make it more difficult knowing that the fans weren't there to watch your final game and give a proper send off as it was during the sort of COVID time?
Yeah, it's a hard one. It wasn't difficult for the reasons of, as I said before, you when you've been and people have enjoyed you playing, you don't want to be sort of going over that hill and people then remember you that way. So that was an easy decision, but it was very, very hard leaving because, as you said, the fans weren't there. I would have loved um, to have left on the terms with them watching and a good send off and just to thank them really. Obviously, it was amazing driving in, and the fans were outside Palmerston, and for the kids, and as I say, my wife when we drove in, and brought a few tears to her eyes, and then the final game after it, speaking to Sandra, who obviously does the all the video and stuff there. I think we could see in the videos that it's a teary night, and leaving the stadium for the last time, it was yeah, very emotional.
You obviously have a very special connection with the fans, but how special is that to you?
Amazing. I think especially as a goal scorer, I think you when you hit the ground running, I think the fans obviously they enjoy you because you're scoring goals, but I think they seen the enjoyment and how how I played the game. I think they seen the enjoyment of when I scored and what it meant to me, but also I always in my memory in my mind was always how does it feel for them, because especially when it's younger kids in the stand, they would love to be playing for Queen of South for the team they support. So that even made it more special. And as I said, all the honours that came around about it, nothing can take away scoring goals, especially for Queen of the South. So
You then had your testimonial. What did it mean to be honoured with that after years of service to the club?
it was amazing. I mean, obviously, I didn't make 10 years, um, so obviously COVID and that hit as well, which set that back. But when the chairman phoned to say, yeah, we're going to give you a testimonial, and I think you need to be honoured for what you did at the club. Was an amazing honour. Like, and as I said, walking out one more time with the fans there was very special. Um, and to bring back so many ex-players that, as you said, on our cup final run and they seasons, but then players like Derek Lyle and John Rankin and that then contributed in the last 5 years of my career at Queens was special as well. So it was a great honour. I loved every minute of it.
Are there any moments from the day that made it the perfect way to round off your time?
I think obviously scoring. Um, and Scott Brown, obviously, I'm good friends with him, put me down for a penalty. But I wish he'd done it up the other side for where actual fans were. That would have made it more special. But I think just walking off for that last time, um, and just really saying thank you to the fans, because even when the hard times were coming, we were fighting relegation, they were always there and they're always behind us. And to captain the team through that hard time, it was just a big thank you to them.
How special was it to have friends and former teammates all coming together to be involved with the game?
I think it's massive. I mean, I think we only had from obviously it got cancelled because the Old Firm game, so we had to move it. And I think there was only one, Jamie McDonald. He couldn't make it. He got injured. Um, obviously, I think he was still playing for Raith Rovers at the time, and he was the only one from that time that couldn't make it. So it just shows you what kind of characters we had in that dressing room. I mean, you had obviously like Stevie Tosh and that. Tosha's about 70-year-old now, so wheeling him out for a 10-minute cameo. But as I said, it just showed you the guys we had in the dressing room that they they go above and beyond for their teammates.
How do you hope the Queen of the South supporters will remember that day and sort of your overall time at Palmerston?
Yeah, the testimonial. I'm not sure they'll remember it because we got absolutely destroyed by a good Scottish team. But that was the reason I picked that, because I wanted obviously the fans to see those legends as well. That some of them they might have never played there. Um, but I hope the fans look back and just remember my celebrations, my when I scored a goal and what it meant to me, and when I put my hand on the badge, it meant a lot. It wasn't just a fleeting gesture. It was I loved playing my football there. I loved turning up to Palmerston every second Saturday. Um, I loved coming through Dumfries, round the back roads, and I just loved everything about it. I wish I could go back and replay it, to be honest.
You then made the move to AFC Fylde in the National League North in 2021, joining as player as well as managing the under-18s team. Was it something that you sort of considered the coaching side before joining Fylde, or did it sort of come about at the right time? I know you were doing striking coach at Queen of the South, but more the overall coaching side of things.
Yeah, I've been doing helping the under 18s and reserves at Queen of the South, and obviously first team strikers coach as well. Gary had gave me that honour, and then as I said, when I made the decision to leave, I was really I, I thought at that time I was probably going to retire and just go straight into coaching and full time. And I got the chance. I went and spoke to the manager at Fylde. Obviously, it's only 10 minutes from my house, and he said, "Listen, you're not going to play as much, but you I think your experience in the dressing room will be good for the younger players. Plus, you can take the under 18s team yourself and um, and just do it and run it the way you want to run it." And luckily, that year we won the three cups, so that was a successful period of coaching. So that was the main reason I think I went to Fylde.
You also won Manager of the Year as well as winning them competitions. What was it like for yourself and the lads from a sort of personal and squad point of view?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, as I said, I kind of got free rein to and plant it whatever way I wanted to. We obviously won the three trophies, which was amazing. But it was more helping the younger players. A few of them have went on uh, and in their own career now, and then you look back and you just say, "Oh, I helped him a little bit." That's the main thing that I took away from it. And as I said, we ended up the most successful under 18 team that Fylde's ever had. So it was a great learning for myself, because it was the first time I was properly taking a full team myself.
You announced your retirement in 2022, ending your incredible 23-year playing career. Was it a sort of difficult decision or something that you felt was potentially coming?
No, it was definitely coming, Emily. Your legs can't go forever. I think I think the main thing is all players would probably still play, but they just can't really run about anymore to the level that they need to. So the time was right. The time was to hang up the boots. And to be fair, I've not missed it as much as I thought I would. I think because I'm in it every day and I'm helping other people and coaching, and now with the first team, it probably I don't miss it as much as playing because I'm coaching. If that makes sense.
Moving on to Blackpool, I believe you joined as academy development coach first. How did that sort of come about for you?
Yeah, just the job was available, so I went and interviewed for it and spoke about my vision and about how I was big on individual learning, and I think all the younger players, that's what they want these days. So I managed to get the job. I enjoyed it, and we ended up that season we won the development cup at the end of it. So it was another successful season and one I look fondly back on.
You're currently first team coach under Steve Bruce at Blackpool. What's it like working with him and the current team?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, obviously the gaffer's a legend, playing for Man United, captain of Man United, and playing under Alex Ferguson. So I just ask him questions every day. I'm very curious on different players that he played with, like Eric Cantona and all that kind of stuff, and how he was managed by Alex Ferguson. And yeah, I think you can only learn off people like that. Um, so I love it. As I said, I love helping the players these days, and it's hopefully onward and upward.
What aspects of coaching would you say sort of enjoy the most? Practical, technical, sort of man management?
I think everything. I think I'm learning a lot. I think I think what you learn is you have empathy for a lot of people because they've all got different backgrounds and they come from a different world from each other. So how do you get the best out of one person, and then how do you get the best out of someone else in a different way? So I think big things like that I thrive on every day. So it's all a learning curve, and helping people, as I said, helping players on their journey and being a small part of it is a big thing for me.
Looking forward to the future now, is coaching something that you'd like to stay in, or is the management side of things something you're inspiring to be in, or just taking each week sort of as it comes?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. As I said, I'm on my pro license now, so I'm halfway through that. That'll be done in the summer. Um, so being a coach now, I'm loving it. As I said, first team, but I think in the future I would love to give management a go. Whether that's 2 years down the line, if it's 5 years, I've in the position I'm at now, I'm loving it. I haven't I, to say like I wouldn't go for any other jobs or anything like that now because I'm quite happy and I'm loving and learning where I am. So yeah, we'll wait and see.
What's the sort of biggest lesson you've learned from a coaching perspective? And is it something that you'll carry with you to today and obviously into the future?
I think the biggest thing so far, as I said to you, it's about reading people, reading the person first before the player. Because as I said, a lot of everybody's got different things going on in their lives. So if somebody's not performing, why are they not performing? So I love looking into stuff like that before getting to know the person, before getting to know the player. So yeah, just keep learning and hopefully help more players.
So that was the end of my questions. Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you very much for your time. It's very much appreciated. Um,
Yeah,
and yeah, thank you very much for joining us
no
today.
worries, Emily. I hope it goes well and good
Thank you.
luck.